We've been warned for quite some time that food shortages were on their way. Donald Trump is set to, or may have already done this, use the Defense Production Act to keep meat processing plants open. But we were told because of the shuttering of these plants and supply chain disruptions, food would be in short supply. And I'm sorry to say, we're here. Supply chain shortages has resulted in Costco and some other stores limiting what you can actually buy. Now, at first, there was panic buying and people were rushing to stores and buying up whatever they could. But there was no real shortage. They just couldn't stock the shelves fast enough. Many media outlets came out and said, no, it's not a shortage. It's just the trucks are coming in to restock things. It's just that everyone went out and bought them at the same time. And that was true. But it was also true that due to the shuttering of businesses, supply chains were being disrupted, meaning there was going to be a delayed response to when there actually was no more food to actually put on the shelves. And now here we are. And many of these people who are advocating the government, keep the lockdowns running don't understand that there's several businesses forced to close right now that handle from the farm to the processing to the shipment to the store to your table. And because the economy is shut down and some of these businesses are deemed non-essential or just can't function, restaurants, for instance, aren't buying, so these factories are dumping product. Here's your shortage. The Daily Mail reports Costco limits number of beef, poultry, and pork products customers can buy as meat supplies are on track to hit historic lows. Costco said Monday that it had limited the number of beef, pork, and poultry products customers can buy. Some of the biggest slaughterhouses in the U.S. have closed over the last few weeks as COVID-19 spread widely through meat processing facilities. That has cut beef slaughter capacity 10% and pork by 25%. Costco said it would temporarily limit fresh beef, pork, and poultry purchases to a total of 3 items per Costco customer, following Kroger Co., which has put purchase limits on ground beef and fresh pork at some of its stores. And with experts warning the food supply chain is breaking, data shows as many as 1 out of every 4 Americans are projected to join the ranks of the hungry. I can't believe I have to have this conversation again. But when you get social media bias, removing fact-based information and propping up pathetic lies from morons who don't understand where the food comes from, this is what you get. 1 in 4 Americans now set to go hungry. I hope you're happy, everyone who said, we got to keep everything locked down to save lives. Whose lives? Why? How many? Do you even know what's going on, and have you followed the science? Oh, you didn't, but you think science is on your side? You people are morons, and you're getting people killed. And now here we are. And you know what? It's worse than just the shortages. Take a look at this story. About 40% of local bars will probably not reopen. Hospitality expert says about DC. WJLA writes, keep in mind, most businesses are not just closed, but bars and restaurants had refrigerators and walk-in freezers filled with thousands of dollars worth of food and meats. All of that is gone. The majority of curbside carryout and delivery has added additional costs. Packaging and third-party delivery services are very expensive. They can charge 25 to 35% of that order. Restaurants and bars are simply not making any money and losing tens of thousands of dollars each day, which means when it comes time to reopen, they won't be able to, because they won't have the money to restock. It will take time and energy. And that's why many of these businesses are shuttering permanently. Now, we can talk about a temporary halt on rent and mortgages and universal basic income, but what are we going to do? Mandate the government deliver meat that doesn't exist to restaurants so they can serve it to you? I'm sorry, that's gone. This is going to ripple out so much worse than any of you realize. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Most of the people watching probably get it's going to get bad. I hope you've bought supplies. I hope you enjoy the schadenfreude of all of the people on Twitter who mocked me when I said you need to get supplies. Perhaps you should buy some emergency food. And they didn't do it. And they thought it was funny. And now here we are. 1 in 4 Americans may go hungry because of this food shortage. Restaurants and bars will not be reopening. I hope you're hungry as people won't have the money to buy food. So you think printing it will work and then it causes a rapid inflation, in which case people can't buy anything because their purchasing power is gone. And then other people end up going hungry, not just because of the supply chain shortage, but because the price of eggs is already skyrocketing. Popular TV host and hospitality expert John Taffer views this challenge as resetting America. Taffer says if we are preconditioned to be safe and bars and restaurants are preconditioned to function safely, he thinks we get through this. It's going to be a slow climb, though. He believes the days of 20 people lined up at a 30-foot bar are gone. The capacity reduction could be 50 to 60% in some cases. I hate to throw a number like this out, but I will do it for you. It's an ugly number. I think it's about 40% of local bars will probably not reopen. And I think this number is closer to 50% for small local restaurants because they have higher operating expenses than bars do typically. He thinks business owners have to start thinking about the future. What happens next? How do businesses prepare for the moment the crisis subsides? And how can bars and restaurants get ahead of this and come out on top? The Bar Rescue host suggests that owners should not spend money now. Hold resources so they can reopen effectively and have money in the bank to sustain operations once the pandemic ends. Taffer lived and owned his first business here in Washington. He owned a bartender's academy on K Street. So when these businesses don't reopen and the money you have is worth substantially less, not only because they've been printing it like crazy, but because you can't really buy anything with it anymore, what will you say? You know, they're going to say, I'll tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say, government, come please take over. They're going to say, government, please print more money. Bill Maher recently called this out. Bless his heart. How can the government just keep printing funny money? At a certain point, people will realize it's worthless. If the government can literally just print trillions of dollars and say, here you go, and hand it to you, what's the real value of it? That's what they've been doing for a really long time. And of course, the Bitcoin and, gold standard people have pointed this out for a long time. Far be it from me to criticize or to tell them what to think. But no, it's true. You can't just keep printing money because money isn't value. It's just a mechanism for trade. Well, now food is going to be gone too. So look, the value of the dollar, what can a dollar get you? I can go to Dave & Buster's, play some video games. That's fun. I can buy some video games for my home. That's fun. I can buy a skateboard. I can buy a car. I can use it to fly around the world. It's the value I can exchange. But hold on. Travel restrictions. Okay, I can't fly now. So the dollar can't get me that. Restaurants and bars, hanging out with my friends, having a drink. I can't do that either. So the dollar isn't worth that. I'm now holding the dollar asking, what can I do with this? Okay. Well, there's a moratorium on evictions, so I don't need to spend it on my mortgage right now. I can buy food with it. So I go to the store and there's no food either. At a certain point, people will say, this paper isn't worth anything because there is nothing I can do with it. I guess you can give it to the government because you owe it to them, but what do they give you in exchange? This is the problem of economic collapse. The value of the dollar and what it represents. At what point do people say, nah, don't give me the dollars, give me the gold, give me the Bitcoin, give me something else? Potentially soon. I don't know for sure. Let's read more about this food crisis. Before the pandemic, food policy experts say roughly 1 out of every 8 or 9 people across the nation struggled to stay fed. Starting Monday, Costco will also require all shoppers to wear masks or face coverings. So that I get. John Tyson, chairman of the United States' largest meat processing company, Tyson Foods, Inc., said last week the food supply chain was breaking and millions of pounds of meat would vanish from grocery stores across the country. Here we can see a sign at a Costco, which reads, due to supply challenges, we will have to temporarily limit the following. All beef, pork, and poultry, limit 3 total per member. We apologize for the inconvenience. Moving down, they say, Donald Trump has ordered meat processing plants to stay open to protect food supplies, a move that drew backlash from unions that said at-risk workers needed more protection. Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what, man. There's a lot of people on the left who demanded Trump use the DPA to produce protective gear. I get it. Now they're mad at Trump for using the DPA to open food processing plants. They're saying he's putting workers at risk. You know what, man? There's no right answer. We're going to starve. We're going to run out of food. What's supposed to happen? We are seeing some economies now reopen. Some states are easing things up. Republican states, many of them didn't close in the first place. So maybe we are on the upswing now. Maybe things are starting to recover. But as I showed you just a moment ago, many of these businesses won't come back. This damage is permanent. Was it worth it? Maybe it was. You know, a lot of people don't seem to understand. They say, see, look, the numbers, the amount of deaths is very, very low. The projections were wrong. No. The projections, they were wrong, but maybe it just worked better than we realized. I'm not going to be a pessimist on this one. We all thought it was the right thing to do, shut things down. I was questioning very early on whether or not we should be bringing back Americans during the quarantine because we knew they were sick. Nancy Pelosi later came out and said the same thing. You know, we should have stopped Americans from coming in. It was an argument to be made. We started saying maybe we need to shut down things and have some lockdowns because we didn't know how bad this was going to get. Well, now we can see that it didn't get nearly as bad as we thought, so that's a good thing. This is what I tell people. Listen, they often forecast hurricanes, and everyone runs out, boards up their buildings, and goes and buys some food. And then I remember this happened in Florida. I was there. They said a hurricane was coming. Everyone rushed to buy goods and board up their windows, and then the hurricane turned, and people were happy about it. They said, thank the heavens that the hurricane has missed us, and we didn't actually need any of this stuff. We should be saying the same thing. The only problem now is for tribal reasons, people have adopted this stance of either keeping it locked down forever or opening up now. I think we want to open up now. I think we want to do it slowly and safely. And I think the people who are saying indefinite lockdown, watch out for the second wave, are partisans who don't actually have a real argument. Otherwise, it's going to get bad. And it already is bad, and it's going to get worse. So I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.